Afternoon all, I'm with my good friend Paul Georgiou. We're going to be looking at the Sicilian defence today from both the white and black point of views to try and be objective. We're going to do a series of live stream discussion videos, and with each discussion we'll save it and then carry on to a new variation. So the Sicilian defence, I hope you can hear us okay, and this is like the board view. We're going to be using chessgames.com Opening Explorer, which is a very interesting resource for exploring the opening. Is the volume okay for everyone? By the way, Paul, do you want to say hi?
Hi.
You've been playing the Sicilian defence for quite a while in your youth.
I played it a long time ago, but I gave it up because it was very complicated.
Alright. Can you see the comments and questions over here, or do you want the font bigger? You can see the comments and questions there. So
it's a bit difficult to read from here.
Okay. I can read them to you. It's okay. Okay, so I'll be on there reading comments. So in the Sicilian defence, black's aiming fundamentally to trade a flank pawn for a centre pawn. So I think it's a great example of creating imbalances straight away, potentially losing trump cards, what I'd call, because you're giving white potentially dangerous, central pressure, and sometimes white's casting on the queen side, and often you see games where black's getting hacked up quickly. But nevertheless, recently it's been used successfully in the World Championship Candidates tournament. Sorry, we can make the board a bit bigger by zooming in at any time. If you want me to zoom in, just say, and I'll zoom in. Is that much better? That's bigger now, isn't it? Because I can see a preview on the left. Okay, so basically the Sicilian defence is still very popular, isn't it, among grandmasters? Who was that grandmaster that used it? That he's qualified for the Boris Gelfand.
Boris Gelfand.
Yeah, he's been using it successfully.
Well, I mean, it's been the most popular response to E4 if black's playing for a win, both club level and grandmaster level, for decades. And
it's not an opening that has like waves of popularity. Like the B90 had like a wave of popularity and then fell, didn't it? It was once used by Tal or other dynamic players, but there's been theory which cost bad results on the B90, and it's not. Sicilian's always like being popular. If we look at the popularity graph, it's always been pretty good. But anyway, the main choices for white, the main line by far is just to play knight f3. So we'll look at the main line and choose a particular variation, I think, for black. So which one should we choose? D6 is the most popular?
D6 is the most popular and most flexible.
Okay, so the open Sicilian with D4 is the most popular move now. So white's trading a centre D pawn for black's flank pawn. So CD, knight takes D4. So usually most games continue with black attacking now that E pawn and white defending it. And now the most popular move by far is this move A6. So not knight C6, but that is like the second most popular. I think isn't that classical variation? I think Andrew Martin did a video.
A6 is the Najdorf.
Yes.
And knight C6 I think could lead to various different variations.
Various different by transposition, and G6 is like dragon, E6 Scheveningen.
Yes.
But couldn't A6 could lead to Scheveningen just with A6 though. So even though but so A6 is the preferred move though. It cuts out also bishop B5 check. So is everyone aware that A6 is the most popular move here? So white's most popular response now, well, for the total sum of chessgames.com database, seems to be bishop E3. So bishop G5 second most popular. Bishop E2 is like the old classical way of approaching the position. F4 seems direct. I think Tal might have played F4 a few times.
F4 is obviously a very aggressive line.
F4, let's just quickly dive into F4. So F4, yeah, that's got a few black responses, mainly E5 there is the most trodden path. So should we look at bishop E3, the main line first? Bishop E3.
Well, bishop E3 is what's known as the English attack.
Right.
Which I think only became popular 15, 20 years ago.
So black's most popular response here seems to be e5. So not playing e6. E6 sort of looks a bit as though it could be asking for trouble. Do you think statistically, although it's only 39 to 31 with 28 draws, so so actually it seems from this this ratio over here, which you can't see, we'll just tell you here that the ratio for black seems to be slightly better for e6 for black wins anyway. So I'll just go back there.
Well, both moves are playable. They lead to different structures.
Well, with e5, clearly, you know, the d5 square is going to be sometimes a centre stage for white's strategy to try and weaken d5 further or undermine it. So knight b3 is the most common reply here.
E5 reduces white's chances of an immediate direct attack.
Yeah.
E6, white can play more aggressively with g4 type ideas later.
Yeah, exactly, like Kara's.
But e5 leads to a more positional game.
Okay, so say knight b3, bishop e6 is the most common move. And now we've got f3 as the most common move. Even though black seemingly has got d5 at their disposal, you can still play f3 here. Is the most trodden move. So let's see, if f3 and a quick d5, what would happen there? It's not played. Maybe there's a problem with it here.
I think is it knight c5 is played. I think
knight c5 is the problem with d5.
I don't know. There's some you take and.
Should we rule that out? Because I think this was once played against me, and I think I let them get away with it because it seemed otherwise it would seem to be liberating.
There's a reason which I forget because I don't play this opening.
So ed knight takes d5. Well, there's two wins here in this line. Knight takes d5, queen takes d5. There's a simplification. I guess you've got a 3-2 pawn majority. You castle queen side.
White's got an advantage in development. Black's king is still in the centre.
So white's slightly better here, but let's have a look at one of these example games. So the two bishops here anyway. So g3 and f4 here were both winning moves. I don't know, is this guy any good? Let's go. Just have a quick look at this game. Just to show the impact of a quick d5 there. So I'm going to use PGN for web viewer here. Just zoom in a bit on that board.
It's the Romanian Championship, so it must be pretty decent.
It was pretty decent. Okay, so in this main line, so here's an example of a quick d5. So this is an example of how you could consider playing position. So f4, just striking out. White's got the bishops, even though black's destroyed the 3-2 majority a bit with that bishop takes b3. White's still got that trump now of the bishop pair. So bishop c4. The light square bishop in particular looks pretty dangerous.
Black is in trouble already.
Yeah, these bishops are just too good, aren't they? That one on d5 is mighty. These pawns are being victimised. But it couldn't be taken at the moment because of rook b8. So check. Alright, that bishop is just brilliant. Okay. So there's a lot of positional pressure now going on. Pawns being snapped up, and that should be like a winning position there. So that's an example anyway. These pawns are going to be triumphant. That was an example of a quick d5 from black, just in case anyone was interested there. If we go back to this opening explorer, so after f3 we have that idea of the quick d5, but let's just ruling that out. So the main response here is bishop e7. Just zoom that in a bit more. So bishop e7, and then white would continue queen d2. So this is the English attack system. I didn't know it was that popular. So we're talking hundreds of games in this variation. So castles and white's castling queenside, very, very popular. 577 games just in the chess games database for this line. I had a nice win once against Marugan. No, that was in the e6. It wasn't in this. Have you tried this system?
I don't play systems like this at all. They're too theoretical.
Okay. Is there any questions from you guys on Livestream about this position? Should we carry on for a bit? Knight d7, g4. So white's aim looks quite primitive, but it's also positionally motivated. If this knight can be dislodged away from d5, white's also increasing a bind on d5. So b5. So the main move here, as you can see from these stats, is g5. And black doesn't yet retreat the knight, attacks instead white's knight. So the knight can now go to e2, because from e2 it can go to g3 with still aggressive intent. From g3 eyeing f5 and h5. So knight e8. Actually now, instead of knight g3, we can use f4, because f4 will immediately give options like f5, asking that bishop where is it going to go. I guess if you don't play f4, f5, black might arrange knight c5 and a quick d5. Well, that's not really, is that really possible? But anyway, f4 is putting the idea that f5 is going to come in now, and black usually responds with a5. So this is like main line of Sicilian. Can we consider this main line with a6 then? This whole line.
Well, I've never seen this before, but
no, I think I've seen a J Roby video on this as well at some point in the past, where this was given. So a4. There's a lot of trodden games here. So white has the sharp knight bd4 here. I think the idea is that there's this knight c6 exploiting the queen and bishop.
Well, it's quite a nice idea, because after e takes, knight takes d4, bishop on e6 is trapped.
Yeah, and you've also got knight c6 now. So this is very clever stuff from white, and it's also heavily trodden, with a good percentage win actually for white. So black doesn't dare, well, he plays b3 usually then. Now the move king b1, and white's got a healthy win percentage here. So say takes, I wonder if we can get an example game. Knight takes c2. So bishop b3 to try and get some counterplay. Take. It's a long line. It's a long line in the database.
Sorry, wasn't black doing well there on the previous page?
Well, statistically, it's 34% to white.
Oh, that's draws. Okay.
So yeah, so this looks like a long main line stemming from a6. So this is on the ChessGames.com opening explorer. So I think this main line was also mentioned by other YouTube people like J Roby in the past. So just to run through that again. So you see after bishop e3, we'll just run that through again. We had e5, knight b3, bishop e6, f3, bishop e7, queen d2, castles queenside, and it's just a long, very trodden path in this a6 line. So the trick is when your knight's attacked, go to e2, but then try for f4, f5, and black's still trying to get queenside counterplay. And there's another trick coming up with knight bd4, worth remembering this, because of that knight c6 attacking queen and bishop. Okay, so knight bd4, nice little trick. And it carries on ed, knight d4, b3. Now white dare not do anything here apart from, if he takes, then b takes is queening the pawn actually.
Yes.
That's why taking the bishop would be an immediate loss here, it seems, because of b takes, just queening the pawn. So king b1. Now we didn't examine b takes a2. That's 100% win rate for white, the two games, only a very small game sample. So why black couldn't play this? Well, the bishop's got no squares here. So say knight c5. Let's look at an example game here. So taking end of we can search the database maybe for that particular node.
White has 2 bishops and just has a clear advantage. Knight c6 is still on, followed by taking on e7 and on d6.
Right, we'll pick a shorter ICCF. This is by correspondence game here actually in the database. So this is an example game. Okay. So ICCF by email at the time. So in this very theoretical kind of line of the English attack, which is B90 for those that like to memorize ECO codes. So we're examining B90 here. So this happened in this Tiemann versus Povchanik ICCF correspondence game. Kind of razor sharp line. So bishop c4. It seems e6 intuitively is going to be a big problem here, and the bishop's got a nice square a2 it seems. Knight f5. Technical moves as you expect, doesn't matter about the e-pawn, so threatening mates now. Check. Oh, very nice. Ripping open the g-file so that rook g1 will be dangerous. Maybe. So rook g1 looks mega dangerous here. b4. Actually, why was that last? So just avoiding any a-file issue. Bishop retreat. So there's still these threats to deal with. So how is white improving the position? Okay, he's going to use that g-file at some point surely. Oh, he's winning material. G-file's finally being used. The king is just safety's has disappeared. Okay, so that was an example game in that very sharp line where we saw the alternative of in this variation. If we go back, if we zoom in there, we saw what would happen if B takes A2. So B takes C2 is the most common actually. Trodden move. Knight takes C2. And we have an interesting game after bishop B3. Let's actually look at an example game here, shall we? If we search the database from that point. Let's pick a win maybe for white. I'm just going to stop my chess cube window for challenges, challenge noises. Okay, so pick a win for white. Maybe should we pick? Which win should we pick? Dutch Championship. Ribka versus Loop was a win. Hi Truth Cracker. Yes, we'll be uploading. This will be on Livestream as well as YouTube later, but we're going to just do one variation at a time. So we're picking the main line in inverted commas of the Sicilian. But what game do you fancy looking at here, Paul? Should we pick a short win? 36 moves. Noba Grover. Should we pick on this one as an example?
Okay.
So this is the B90 example we've first picked now. Okay. We're looking at Sicilian defence today. Actually, variations of Sicilian defence. So B90. So we're looking at this line, which is very sharp. So white's got that threat of knight c6. So check. So is there counterplay from black? Queen g2 seems like a logical move, pushing for g6. Wondering about a quick d5 though. Also, yeah, that seems logical, doesn't it? Queen g2 for this g-file attack.
Yeah, and white has to watch out for rook takes a3 as well.
Yeah, it looks fairly razor sharp. So queen g4 trying to defend. Alright, so black didn't go in for any a-file stuff. So is there a problem again on the g-file here? On the back row? Oh, here actually, it seemed black resigned here. Well, he's got threatened with rook f3 and knight e7 check in this position, so it seems a tactical disaster. That last move was a tactical disaster move, attacking the knight, because knight e7 is now on, as well as this.
It looks like just a blunder to me.
Yeah, maybe there's a better game we can look at. Is there? I don't know if there's any Fischer games in this. There's Vidler. I'm not sure. This was after Fischer, wasn't it? This.
Well, you can see the most recent game is 2005. So this line didn't exist in Fischer's era.
Yeah, you mean the earliest?
They're in chronological order, aren't they?
Yeah. So, okay, we'll pick... should we pick the most recent Reykjavik Open? That's the closest we'll get to Fischer, Reykjavik. Caspi Gunnarsson.
Right.
Well, we're just looking at B90 here. Okay. So, Caspi against Gunnarsson in the Reykjavik Open of 2009 saw this variation. So, knight A3. It looks superficially as though it's quite risky for white. Now look at that pressure building up on A3 here.
And E4 is on prees as well.
Yeah, so that Queen A8 and Rook A4 seems like a nifty idea. Queen D5. Oh, black didn't dare to take on A3 though here. With Rook takes A3.
It looks feasible, but Rook takes, Pawn takes, Queen takes. Maybe just Rook D2 or something defending.
Rook D2?
Yes.
Yeah, you've got to defend A2 there.
Yeah, Rook D2 defends A2.
It does, yeah. So that's what I mean, yeah. So there's like Bishop C1, Queen A2 mate. So yeah, Rook D2 might be adequate there. That looks sharp. So black decided to go actually for the E-pawn instead here. Now how did this game evolve? So B3 might be a target here now.
White is actually a pawn down.
Right, but that B3 now is restoring material balance. And that was a nifty rook manoeuvre via H3, wasn't it really? So there's still some pressure now. Oh, that's nice for trying to decoy away for Bishop D5 check. So white's still better here, would you say?
Yes, certainly.
Yeah, this pawn's very dangerous. So this might help explain a little bit why there's a good win rate for white. So even if there isn't an immediate winning kingside attack, there seems to be advantage. But let's look at another game example maybe. Which one? Prasad Indian Championship of 2006. Let's have a quick look at this one. So English attack system. So we see really people did really play this variation a lot. So it looks kind of very sharp stuff. Queen B4 here as an idea. Alright, so because Rook A4 in the previous one didn't allow Queen B4, so Queen B4 is immediately just trying to grab B3. What about E4 though? The E4 needs to be supported?
Will do.
Alright, so he doesn't mind losing it there. So is the rook's and pre, but this rook's and pre. Both rooks attacked. Again, this Queen D5, just trying to simplify. So how are we doing in this endgame again? Is it better for white again?
It seems to get a lot of similar endings with white having an advantage.
Yeah, these pawns on the king side seem a menace again.
Again, we have the F6 move.
Yeah, because
again, white had a pass.
If takes winning the rook.
But we had F6 in the last game. Also, white had a pass B pawn.
Amazing.
Amazing the similarities between some of these games.
Yes, just from this B90, they've got that pattern, haven't they? What about this fat chick? Oh, we did have a look at the fat chick game earlier, didn't we?
For Tachnik.
Was that the game we looked at earlier? It wasn't.
No.
Okay, let's have a look at this one.
For Tachnik, who I beat in a simultaneous when I was 13.
You beat him in a simul?
Yes.
Really? Wow. So, and you weren't really familiar with this particular Sicilian line, so this is good.
It wasn't in this line at all.
All right, no, but you didn't know about this main line kind of before much.
No.
Before, I think you should use chessgames.com. It's very good for research. So Rook A4. So that rules out the Queen B4 idea. So Rook H3 seems to be a common response. Are you sure this is not the game we just looked at before? No, it looks different now.
No, it's not.
Wow, some delicate bishop maneuvers. Winning the exchange.
Looks like he's won the exchange.
He's just won the exchange. And he's won d6. Bishop c6 was the last move in the game.
Well, king e7, rook e6, and then takes on e4.
Or even bishop e8 mating.
Bishop e8 is actually mate, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's a force-like mating sequence. King check, bishop e8 mating. Question, why does white not bombard kingside earlier than black on the queen side? I think this is kind of, this is razor sharp stuff after the knight. This is a razor sharp line, razor sharp position here. So we have h4 and rook a4. White played rook h3 because he really wants to get this b3 pawn away from black, because otherwise there's mating threats on a2 quite quickly. So what do you think about this rook h3? So okay, so queen d5. All right, any more game example? A win? Should we be fair and show a win for black here?
Okay.
So Anand's.
Karyakin v Anand. This is quite a well-known game, I think.
Oh, this is a well-known game. Wow, we've got a celebrity game here. All the GMs, other GMs are a bit anonymous nowadays, but people know the name Anand. So he was black in this game.
I have seen this game before now, I think.
And you didn't memorise the opening theory of it. So g5. So Anand's played all these moves as white. So knight bd4 with that idea, knight c6. You're all awake now, aren't you? You believe this is the main line now. So bishop b3, knight a3, knight e5. So usually it's h4 and rook h3 from what we've seen before. h4. Now this move, maybe that facilitates queen b4 because it's not rook a4. He plays queen c3. So does Anand get a chance now to sack the exchange? His pieces are a bit congested here. Is there going to be a quick d5 or a queen a8? Queen a8. It seems logical for a3 and e4. Double attack.
Yeah, we need to defend e4.
So knight c7. Wow. Offering the knight. Very sharp tactical move.
Well, I think bishop g2 is just cut off the rook h2 defence. So maybe after queen takes c7, rook takes a3.
Yeah, it's really crushing.
I don't know, is it?
Well, we're going to find out. He plays rook c8 first.
Rook c8 first, yes.
Cutting off the c file. And giving up another bishop. So two pieces sacrificed there. Wow.
And now rook takes a3, presumably.
No!
No, knight c4.
Now look, these pawns are actually shielding the black king. It needs to rip open these lines. So two pieces down. So if knight takes c4, rook a1 is mate. So how Karyakin went down from here, plays g6, seems like a logical move. Is it too little, too late? Takes, check, rook a3. So is the black king in trouble? King h7. There's no immediate check here. White is threatened simply with rook a1 and queen a2. This doesn't seem that nice a variation anymore looking at this game. I wonder if the white players stop playing it after this game. So queening a knight to cause check.
To divert the rook.
Wow, queen sack. Check.
But now the white king's going to be driven to its
check.
doom.
Check. 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 and now white resigned. Okay, after that game, I'm personally put off ever playing this variation. Yeah, even if I did memorise this. Shall we look at another black loss just to reinforce the view that black has dangerous resources? So Shirov versus Van Wely. Van Wely?
I think it's Van Wely, apparently.
Dutch Championship is on at the moment as well, isn't it? So Shirov against. Okay, so let's see how this one evolved. in this ultra critical main line. Now, I've argued in one of my YouTube videos, never play main lines, just play for trump cards instead. I don't know. What do you reckon? Would you, if you were really serious about chess and wanted to be an openings expert, would you really memorise this and try and play this? It looks a bit double-edged. That's the thing.
If you want to be a grandmaster, you have to have a serious repertoire.
Yeah.
If you just want to enjoy yourself, play 2c3.
2c3. Avoid all this.
Exactly. That's what I do.
Okay, so this knight comes to a3. Black seems to have a beautiful idea of rook a4 and queen a8 in a lot of games. So white's trying to tear open the G file.
Well, this is Shirov, so this is to be expected.
Yeah. Well, white generally has to do that, otherwise he's going to be in trouble on the queen side. So this knight seems to be rerouting menacingly somewhere. But where? Why knight e6?
Well, it's just a logical move.
Okay, just trying to get rid of that dark squared bishop, so
Shirov sacrificing material.
Oh, what is this? The king's making a run for it via e7. Is not going in the corner.
Well, then g7 would win material.
Oh yeah. So that was fairly needed. Check. Defending f3. Shirov's gone wrong. Has he?
Yes.
Yes. Doesn't look too hot now, the position. Materially, white's 2 pawns down.
Lost ending.
It's lost ending here. So that was some sort of disaster. So maybe in many ways this is easy to play for black. I don't know if...
Well, Shirov played a speculative sacrifice, which was sun sound, and he lost.
Where was the sack?
Well, he sacked a piece on d4.
Yeah, that was actually a sack, wasn't it? So g6 was actually sacrificing the bishop on d4 here.
Yes.
And black's resourceful defence involving king f6. Well, in this game example, it didn't work. We can look at game example after game example. We can see the main variation and then look at stem games. To see concrete examples. Which demonstrate resources for both sides. So should we take another one? There's Jibtel, Irina Crush. She didn't get crushed, she crushed. Irina crushed?
Well, I haven't seen the game yet. So.
Okay, let's have a look at the game. So this was in the Gibraltar, which I played in, was it a couple of years ago? So
2009, you were probably in the room as this game was being played.
I was probably in the dungeon downstairs because I wasn't doing that well.
Okay.
You get sent to the dungeon to play with just bunnies. But I didn't like the increment. It was like 2 minute increment. Every time you move, you get a 2 minute increment. I prefer bullet chess.
They'll get bullet chess in international tournament.
It's a shame. Why don't FIDE do bullet chess? It's really cool. They do 5 minute though. So okay, so f5. So obviously Irina knows a lot of theory. So bishop b3. Sorry, you've got a question. Before g4, what if h5? Oh, hi Frank. Sorry. I don't know. Can we look at this stem game now that we're into it? Just sorry, one sec. So knight e5, h4 is the most common move. So queen d5 was ventured here instead of h4. So has this got a problem? White's
the a8 will be on priest if you take
that pawn's not a problem. So is this a reasonable move? Gets kicked. Oh, b3 is one. Now bishop takes g5. So they're munching each other's attacking pawns. Here, they've just swapped. White swapped g5 for b3.
I don't really like that. Black has a very nice knight on e5 in the centre.
Yeah.
And White's bishop is a bit bad.
Yeah.
And White's also lost ideas of the kingside attack to an extent.
Yeah. The attack doesn't look good without the dark squared bishop. So is White getting positionally murdered? And I like this coordination, this battery and the diagonal. Knight d3 is on for queen e4.
Okay. King h8 is nice, just in order to defend g7 with the rook if needed.
She's got a really smart position here. It looks gorgeous, this position with the rooks, the queen, the knights. Knight f3. Whoa, whoa, ouch! That looks like pain. She doesn't even take that rook. Oh, sorry, the rook was attacked here. Pardon me. The rook was attacked, so it counterattacks on the queen. Queen b3 looks like a artificial kind of move. Black's just won the exchange basically, and e4's dropping off. Looks gruesome. So that's another horrible picture of white being crushed in this line, which comes back to my theory that really, should you be playing opening theory if you're not fully aware of the trump cards or the potentially losing trump cards? So even if you know the theory, well, there's wins for white, there's wins for black, but statistically, there's more wins for white than black, and draws there's quite a few. So this is our first little video on Sicilian, that main line. If we go back, so just to recap, so this is B90. It was B90, wasn't it?
Yes.
B90.
Do you want to look at this h5 move the guy suggested?
Sorry, h5. What if before g4? What if h5? Okay, hang on a sec. So here, before in this position, okay, so we've got loads of games with g4 here. Before g4, what if h5?
Instead of knight bd7.
Okay, so castles. You want to play h5 here?
Yeah, h5 is quite a common modern move.
Actually, yeah, I've seen it.
It's counterintuitive, but the idea is just to stop g4.
Yeah.
Even though you seem to be weakening your own king,
yeah,
it slows white down a great deal.
I've seen it in the British Championship recently, and it's not mentioned here. Oh dear.
Stephen Gordon.
Yeah, was it in this
I
exact
believe.
line? Was it in this exact line?
I'm not sure, but it's certainly a thematic idea in these type of positions. Counterintuitive, but without g4, white's play is slowed down considerably.
Yeah. Yeah. I think this might have happened in before castling. Oh, okay. Before, so queen d2. Yeah, look, it's here. Look, h5 is here. Look, queen d2, h5 here before castling. It's popular here. h5 is a third choice.
Right, but it could lead to the same positions after castles.
Well, black doesn't have to castle now. Maybe that's one of the main points. Black plays knight d7, delays castling. Very good percentages for black in this line. Frank, that was an excellent question. It sheds light that black doesn't need to go in for all this stuff with g4. I think this is kind of nasty now. Look at all these black win percentages. 41, 33, 50%, 41 in the most trodden path of king b1. 36 games here. This looks horrible. So black doesn't castle. So you're taking away the fun from the white player. That's very naughty, Frank. So where did you see this? Sorry, where did you see this idea? I should be talking to the microphone, not to the monitor. Sorry, Frank, where did you see this idea? So rook c8. So say knight d5. Oh, someone gifted you a video about this. Knight d5. So say knight takes d5. Oh, there's bishop d5 has got 6 games at 83%. Andrew Martin video, right. Cool. So e takes d5. Knight b6. It seems this went horribly wrong for white, this variation in a lot of games. Looks grim, doesn't it? What does black do here? Now black castles when it's safe.
It doesn't look that bad for white, but black looks comfortable.
There were 2 wins actually. Oh, there were only 2 games there, but there was an example game here with rook c7. So let's have a look at this example game then. So Black was very cheeky and didn't go in for any of this. So Leo versus Shabin. Can Hill open 1998? So this very cheeky move, H5. Very interesting.
This is actually even earlier because Bishop's still on F8.
Yeah. So can White, is White trying to use that D5 square? Castles now, when there's no major like issues. There's no G file attack at all, is there? No G file attack at all. Nasty. Black seems to have a really nice position.
Well, it's about level, isn't it?
It's about level, yeah. In fact, Black's got a nice dark square play here.
Black's better now.
And he's just sacked a piece for a vicious play. He's getting material back. He's just better. The dark square bishop dominates, so White probably resigned or lost on time here. Wow.
Looks a bit premature to me. Maybe
So
he lost on time.
this whole line's pretty good. Wow. Thanks for that, Frank. So if we go back and examine some sidelines, yeah, that's pretty cool. So we go from here, bishop e3, e5. It's got a fundamentally very nice idea to it after f3. This h5 move, probably more distinct than knight bd7. Sorry, if we go back here. So we've got knight bd7 or h5. Should we look at knight bd7 as well? Well, it's not really that much. That really changes the percentages actually, isn't it? h5. That's the one which really challenges the percentages, this move h5. Look at that, 36.5% win rate. Not a bad game sample. We're not talking like less than 10 games. Do we want to look at knight d7 as well, independently? So queen d2.
It's going to transpose a lot.
It would just transpose, wouldn't it? So g4.
We transpose.
There might be h6 here. 80 games with h6 for some reason.
Well, stop g5, obviously.
Sorry, yeah. So now Black doesn't have to castle here either. So there's 71 games with b5. Let's give a bigger view on that. So b5 here. h4. Black's doing alright percentage wise. He's just not daring castles. So that rook on h8, he's not going to use it for a moment. He's just leaving it on h8.
Knight's coming to c4.
So say queen f2, that's the most trodden move. Just battery against the knight on b6. The other knight protects it. King b1. So Black's operating on the c file and c4 in particular, yeah?
Yes.
So it is kind of separate, independent idea, this h6, that Black's not on the castle. So knight c4, bishop c1. But how can Black now progress without the rooks being connected? a5 is a very good percentage for Black here. a5 here seems strong for Black. It's a small game sample. Shall we have a look at one of these games?
Okay.
So bishop d3. Shall we look at this Pat's game?
Okay.
So Pat's wasn't quite a Patser.
Well, they're two strong women.
So she beat one of a former women's world champion and supermodel, Alexandra Kosteniuk, in the Duel of the Graces 2002. Actually, she's not a supermodel. She's, I don't know. Sorry, but anyway, for chess, she is. Yeah. So okay. So Elizabeth Patz. Let's see. So she didn't castle kingside into the attack. Instead, this h6, and operating on the c4 square and the c file in general, d5 gets sealed up with a pawn. Now this aggressive a5 move, sorry, a5, because that knight is actually shielding b5, so a5 is made a lot more possible because there's no bishop takes b5.
Yes.
And also this knight is being victimized as well on b3 for tempo gain. So we have here black's rook is actually just on defensive duty here. Okay, are there any imminent threats on the horizon?
I can't see any.
So a3. So black doesn't obviously mind the b file opening up.
Obviously not.
Knight b2. Interesting. So what damage could this possibly cause? Could weaken c2 on taking on d3?
But if white takes it, then that bishop could get onto the diagonal. A1 to h8, yes.
Potentially after f5,
after f5 bishop
e4.
f6, yes.
So something like f5 later.
Quite possibly.
Okay, again the b files. Oh, now the other rook is connecting via king d7. That's a very cunning idea.
I'm not convinced of this at the moment. White looks better to me.
Check. The important thing is the rooks have potential connection now.
Yeah, I mean, well, white is better, that's quite clear.
Oh, sorry, white did win. That was splat. Sorry, Kosteniuk won this game, as you can see from this 1-0 indicator. That was a bit over-ambitious from black.
You're trying to suggest that black won that game.
I thought black would won that game. Oh dear. Was there another game she did win? I thought I saw a game she did win. It was this one. Kosteniuk Patz 2002.
It says 0-1 then.
Yeah. This is... What? They must have played each other twice in this tournament. Why does it say 0-1 on this one? Same variation. Must be... I don't know, was it a thematic tournament or something?
I don't know.
So how did black win this one? Oh, there was a slight difference here, isn't there?
It's rather odd for two people to play each other in the same tournament twice with the same colours. So I'm not really sure.
Well, let's check this tournament out. Was it thematic? Duel of the Graces 2002.
Oh, I see, it was a match.
Oh, it was a match between them. Sorry guys, it was a match between them. Duel of the Graces 2002. So they played virtually the same opening. That explains that, okay? So if we just go back, so this was in their match of 2002. So white didn't do as well in this one. It was a match. It was possible. It wasn't an ordinary tournament. It was a match between the two of them. Sorry, who won the match? Okay,
it was 4-all.
4-all. It was 8 games and it was 4-all, as you can see here. You did the counting for that, did you, Paul?
I did.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get back into that. So black won this because let's see how black won this. And in particular, how are these rooks getting connected? What happens to this rook in this game? Black castled here, even though g5 looks dangerous.
Bishop e5 and then h5 maybe.
Very... Paul predicted that, believe it or not. Guys, are you stunned? Paul actually predicted Bishop e5 and h5.
It is actually in front of me. It is actually in front of me. But I didn't actually look at it. It's just sensible.
So this g-file attack is not going to be tearing the black king to shreds here. So knight a4. So the b file might actually be, that was hitting the rook.
And c3 is
and c3 is a big problem.
Is pretty dodgy as well.
Leaving the rook on b8. More pressure building up. Oh, knight b3 is a major threat now potentially.
Is that what might actually turn up a petrol then, didn't she?
Ah, interesting. Ouch! Looks like a bog standard B file disaster. Ah, gruesome. So, considering it went badly wrong in this game,
I think White turned down a draw over petrol by the looks of it.
Yeah, too ambitious to win the match. So where was this?
Just then, when the queens were going backwards and forwards.
So bishop g2. There was queen here, queen here.
No, before that.
Right. In this position. Queen g6, queen e8, queen c2, queen b5. Right. So you could have played queen g6 there.
Yes.
Oh well. Okay, so there was that match. Alright, any other questions about this line before we save it to our video library? So that's B90. You can see this B90 line. Very heavily trodden line of the Sicilian, starting from this A6 move. So we have 19,000 games with this A6, and that's like the main line.
The Najdorf variation.
Modern Najdorf with castling queenside.
Well, A6 is just the Najdorf.
Oh, sorry, yes, Najdorf, yes. B90 Najdorf, Sicilian Najdorf.
I used to play it myself.
Yeah. Actually, is this the game count? 4102 games in the Najdorf. So Scheveningen comes second. Kerr's attack, classical. Oh no. Okay. Alright, we're going to stop there and have a break. Pardon me. So we'll be back in a few minutes. We'll choose a different variation. Hope you enjoyed that. Any comments or questions? I'm about to save this one. It's approaching like 55 minutes. Quite a big one. But we're going to do another variation in a few minutes. Just going to have a break now. Thanks very much.